Hi, welcome to today's video. I want to talk about dynamic versus static levels. And first, this is basically of how to read support and resistance of a trend. So, what is a dynamic level? It is moving averages or a trend line. So, this is an example of dynamic. So, a trend line and this is the moving averages, so it's dynamic. And static, it doesn't move, so it's based off the horizontal price levels. So this is how I draw mine. In earlier videos, I talk about how I draw those support and resistance. And the support and resistance, it's actually called the static levels, which is the horizontal levels. And that's how I draw uh, horizontal one. I don't use the just line. I use boxes instead. Um, so how do I draw? How do you read or how do you draw the dynamic levels? So such as the resistance trend lines. How do you connect those? I typically look for the highs, the very highs or the very lows, and I connect those highs together. Uh, First, if you just have these data, it will look like this, but this also works. You can also draw both. It also tells you where the resistance is that turned into a support. Like right here, it broke out a resistance, tested the resistance number two, the trend line number two. This is the first one because it connect this day's highs, and this one connect from this day to this day's high. So it's both useful, but the point of this video is show you how to read it. So how I read this is basically if I didn't have this, right, this will signal me a breakout. It makes me think it wants to go up to the upside. So if you just have this, you might be a little bit too confident on this breakout. So that's why you need to use the static level uh, horizontal line. So I usually draw one on every highs or like the lower highs. But if it's too tight, I don't really want to draw it. So as soon as a breakout, it forms resistance, right? And this is the previous resistance. Um, this is the spy chart on the right. Uh, I was gonna do the horizontal and static separately, but since we need to use it both together to get a read, I'm just gonna show you what's on the left chart, and this is just gonna be the moving averages. I will explain that after I explain how to draw the the trend lines and the horizontal uh, levels. So at first you see this little breakout and you think it could trend, but since soon as it break out, it changed color and it formed a resistance at the top. So that means that it has struggled to break over this area. So if it has to go up, we have to break this. So what happened is right after a two candle attempt, it couldn't do it. It decided to test the support trend line and it fell. So where did it fell to? The previous support. And that one doesn't really have a trend lines because it's so horizontal. Like I don't think you want to draw this because it's not enough connection point. And typically the connection point has to be at least two to three connection to make it valid. What makes it valid is the test, because every time it touches, it's a test, and if it react, such as breakout or reject, it shows that it is very sensitive to that trend line, to that price area of the trend. So that's how you read those trend lines, resistant trend lines. You look at those highs and also had to make sure that the horizontal trend line is also agree with that. Moving on to the moving averages. So it's pretty simple. It's more curvy It's not as straight as the left side chart, such as just straight down or to the side. So this is pretty simple. I use this 10 moving averages, so it calculate the past 10 days price average, and it give you a little average to current price. So we can see that when it tested, right? So when it closed over, it stays over, fail. But as soon as it fell, it closed back over the next candle, showing that it's trying to ride this as a support. So whenever it fell, it get tested, it turned to resistance. You can use that as your entry to short until it breaks over. So could be here if you don't draw the horizontal resistance. And if you do draw it, you will see that it's still trending. And it hit the target here. This one doesn't have that. So how do you know when to get out? You just have to move on to the 5-minute time frame. So let's take a look on November 1st. Okay. So basically, let me extend this out. Oops. To see if it was respected as a support. And yes, 5-minute did hold that as a support. You won't be able to see it on the 15 minutes. So you might have to move to the smaller time frame to check on it. You don't always want to stuck on one thing. You don't want to be too overload with one single perspective. So I think that's it. I cover how to draw the dynamic resistance support, and I also cover how to draw the static one, which is the horizontal. Remember, dynamic is more of wavy, like it's not. It's more like adaptive. You can see like the trend line, the moving averages. It's more adapted to the price. Static is just the solid horizontal levels of support and resistance. And I hope you guys uh, can learn from this. And if you have any questions, just let me know. And I hope this will help you uh, become a better uh, drawer. Yep. Thank you for watching.